Hello and welcome to another Impulsive Compulsion episode here at Question the Truth with me, Slisk Lindqvist. And I want to speak about speaking in tongues. I'm gonna have let's just open YouTube here, and I'm just gonna, sorry for that. I'm gonna have this. Okay, yeah. I'm not. I don't care. It's YouTube. Please. Oh, okay. I agree. Then it's freaking cookies. Cookie monsters. Okay, let's see. So I'm from Sweden, so I speak pretty good Swedish. Probably. No, not really. But I'm not native. I'm not a native English speaker. But I have heard that my English is quite good. So let's see. Speaking in tongues. And this is what you see Paula White speaking in tongues. Okay. So is this a real speaking in tongues, or is it the usual word fuckery that is with worship the Lord for the Lord. Holy shit. I see here the
John, perhaps the most controversial of the spiritual gifts is speaking in tongues. And over your pastoral ministry at Bethlehem, you've encouraged your people to pursue the full range of the spiritual gifts.
Blah, blah,
go
blah.
through seasons. And I would say the prominent seasons have been where they're just not in the forefront. That is, the extraordinary gifts like tongues. And I'm okay with that, since my sense is that Paul was not eager to forefront that gift, but was a little bit miffed that it was being foregrounded as much as it was when he wrote.
Oh, really? I've had a really strange experience. Really strange. I was away speaking with a gypsy. There's a lot of gypsies in this town, or it's just one or two now instead, after the changes in the begging laws here in Sweden. But there were a gypsy outside every store in the whole of Sweden, basically. So, and I didn't see a problem with it, but apparently others did. So a new law was created. So yeah. So established begging is illegal now. So let's see. I don't know how good how good he is in Swedish, but he came up to me and he was speaking Swedish, and I'm like, okay. So he was speaking really good Swedish, and I was okay. I'm listening. I'm talking to him, and I'm speaking to him, and then, like 30 seconds into the conversation, I'm like, sorry. And I was like a freaking question mark, and then he wasn't speaking Swedish anymore. He was speaking Romani, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, and I got really lost. But then yesterday I was thinking of speaking in tongues when it comes to all these churches and stuff like that, and how they
That's why I'm taking my time to teach it.
And that's not talking in tongues. Speaking in tongues is basically there's a person that can speak 27 languages fluently here in Sweden. Or if it was in England, I can't remember. But how this was a politician that can speak 27 languages, and I'm like, okay, how did you get the time to learn all those languages? But really, it doesn't take that long to learn another language. If you temporarily move to another country, you can learn that language within 6 months. And if you become really good at it, then you would be speaking in tongues, wouldn't you? So we are in the age where we are learning from others, and we are learning on our own to speak other languages. So the whole church thing with swallowing something and getting it stuck in the throat, that's just bullshit, basically.
The Lord demands a worship right now.
This is
the
bullshit.
Lord demands a worship right now. It's above it.
So,
In Jesus' name.
so if it's truly that God is everywhere, why would God even need worship? Because God would be us. We would be God. But we are not God. We have God within us. We are the temples of God. So, we are the temples of life. And everything around us are temples of life. A tree, a flower, a bee, a cow. Everything has the spirit of life within it. Everything. And then we have all of this trash. So this is just hilarious. They're just having fun. Sometimes I can like sing at home and it might sound like another language, but it's not another language. It's just what's the word for it in English? So Swedish is härma. The mimicking. It's mimicking that language. So when I sing, so because some languages sound nice, that doesn't mean I can speak them, but if I learn them from the people that actually speak them, then I would be speaking in tongues like I'm doing now. So I'm speaking English because I learnt from others. I learnt from playing games and speaking to other people from other countries, and I'm as fluent in English as I am in Swedish, but I'm not fluent in other languages. I can speak a bit Norwegian, and one of my friends, he was like, can you stop speaking Norwegian, please? Because you're Swedish. You shouldn't be speaking Norwegian because it's really difficult to know. He didn't like me speaking Norwegian because I became so fluent in Norwegian that it sounded like I was a Norwegian, and that kind of fucked with his mind a bit. So I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I don't want to speak a language openly to others if I cannot sound like them, because if I don't sound proper, it's like I'm disrespecting them. Så när jag pratar svenska till exempel, så det är ju samma. Så it's almost the same flow with my English as it is med min svenska with my Swedish, and I like that flow, and I want that flow to I want to have that flow while I'm speaking other languages too, but I don't. So I don't speak other languages. I did have I want to relearn German again. I want to learn Spanish. I want to learn Russian, Italian, Hebrew, Arabian should be one of the most difficult languages in the world, apparently. And then I also want to learn Mandarin, or just normal Chinese, and Japanese. I would also like Korean. That's a nice language. And Thai. So if I could, I have the time to learn other languages, apparently, since I don't have anything else to do every day than to sit down and watch videos, apparently. But yeah, the whole thing with does this child preacher understand the words?
And I see here, it seems like these kids are just regurgitating Bible verses. I want to know if you really understand what it is that you are preaching.
I'd like to make up a reading comprehension test for these kids to see if they really.
You're not on mic, so
This student's an
I know,
A
could you
student
give
at
me-
the school.
Oh, I shouldn't be watching Oprah Winfrey like that. Okay, so yeah, I'm watching a movie that I paused because I'm right now. So how should I put it? I was thinking of speaking in tongues, and I've been looking at. I've been observing people in American churches for a long time now, and I just think it's really hilarious when they're standing there and sound like they're gurgling their morning coffee, basically, and it's just a bunch of nonsense. Real speaking in tongues, from my perspective, from my intellectual perspective, would be speaking other languages fluently. That's basically what it is. So I don't gather the whole idea of having this. It's also like the whole thing with the Tower of Babel, also like dividing the people and stuff like that. I've been thinking of that too. So why would God divide people like that? God wouldn't. But people would. People would most definitely divide themselves from others with different new cultures, new life philosophies, new languages and stuff like that. Above that, I'm also above that I'm an earthling. I'm from the region called Sweden, but I'm also an Asgardian, and I'm still a bit dumbfounded when it comes to this with how should I put it, when it comes to Asgardia. So let's see. Asgardia.space is the world's first space nation, and it's mostly let's see, screen left. So this is there. there. I accepted the Constitution, but the Constitution is basically fascism, and it's very long, and it was doctored from a lot of different stuff. So I became an Asgardian back in 2016 when this was new, and I've been following it back and forth and going in here talking to people about the Constitution, about the about a whole lot of things. But then getting back to the whole Tower of Babel and dividing the people and stuff like that, this is basically the same thing. So what their suggestions for Asgardia to create a new language to differentiate Asgardia as a nation from every other earthly nations, and their motto is one humanity, one unity. And that's like, are you fucking kidding me? So I'm sorry for swearing a lot, but are you kidding me? So I got on a real rage about that. First of all, that motto, it shouldn't be the motto of Asgardia at all. Because we have a maximum of 150 million people that can become Asgardians. 150 million people. There's almost 8 billion people on Earth. So, one humanity, one unity is not the right thing to have here. Upon that, we use English as the language that we communicate with between people, and now some people want us to create a new language, as I said, to differentiate Asgardians from the rest of the world. And that's basically what I feel like when it comes to the Tower of Babel. So people aren't learning from history at all. So this to create a new language, to create a new culture, to create all basically they're using Asgardia. Asgardians is basically the Norse mythology. They're taking that name. So it's a Russian who took the Asgardia, the Norse mythology, basically putting he's the head of nation, he's our king, basically, and he's been king for a while now, and we're supposed to be having new kings, but he's going to be sitting as a totalitarian up until the day he dies, obviously. But the next king is only going to sit for a specific time range, this is bullshit. This is a Ponzi scheme, so it can't be anything else. So we have something called solars, and I have 0 solars. I'm not going to invest in it. So we have Qtum. You buy Qtum, which is a cryptocurrency, and when you buy Qtum, they will be converted into solars on this page only. So the solars is the monopoly money for this homepage, basically. So there's something fishy about that, because we can't use the Qtum for anything else. We don't know what the Qtum is invested in, and when we buy Qtum, where does those money go? And when we pay money to Asgardia, where does those what are the money invested in and stuff like that? It's been a lot of different discussions about this, and they're still not being as transparent as I want it to be, because in order to put in full trust to something, you need to be able to get all all available information. There should not be any censorship. There should not be any limits. Even if you're 10 years old, you should see into any part of the nation's economy and trading information, everything. Because that gives trust, and that creates the unity that they are after. And this is not supposed to be about this, sorry. But the whole idea of creating a new language to differentiate ourselves from everyone else is basically the same things that has been going on with other cultures. So from the beginning we probably had one language, and then someone thought it would be good to like Tower of Babel. What did it really confuse everyone with different languages? Maybe it's just like this: the Tower of Babel might or might not have existed, I don't know, but if it did exist, it might have been too big of a building and it just fell down on its own, and because of that people got scared and they got scattered, and because they got scattered they were not using the same languages anymore, and then new languages were created, much like the gypsies use words from different languages. They probably have the most difficult language in the world because they use words from different languages that they incorporate into their language. So, and that's interesting because, well, why not? But it differentiates them in a whole other category than others. Oh, anyway, so let me know what you think about speaking in tongues. Because for me, speaking in tongues is obvious that it's about communication, about being able to speak fluently in another tongue, in another language. It's being able to communicate with other peoples. Now we have one of the largest, well, not really, but one of the largest and most spread language now is English, and let's just hope that English will stick and that people will hold to its grammar, not like create their own slang in one country and another in another country, because that then English will become 3,000 new languages because people don't want to learn what they're supposed to be learning. That's the problem with Americans. They and Brits. I get so irritated sometimes when I speak with people from England or from America, because they use a lot of slang as words that does not make any sense, and they shorten words. Sometimes it feels like they're shortening words a bit too far, like taking a word and making it 3 words in one, basically. Anyway, speaking in tongues should not be what they're teaching in those well, churches and stuff like that. It should be very obvious that it's communication between people of all sectors of Earth or nations of Earth. And right now we have English, and people are whoops, people are learning English, and that's all good, I suppose. And there's now we're actually learning things now, but I don't know if that gypsy has been. I don't know if I tuned in to him and what he said was translated through him, which would be more or less telepathy, or the most likely thing that he is actually very good at Swedish and he's manipulating people into thinking that he's really, really bad at Swedish, and thereby don't have to sit down and explain himself. But it wasn't like when I spoke with him, it wasn't like 3 words Swedish. It was full sentences that I could fully comprehend. But because I could comprehend them fully, I questioned it. It's happened before. I saw the resistance in the electromagnetic fields of 2 of my friends some years ago. You can call it's more commonly known as auras, so colors in the aura, but it's resistance in the electromagnetic fields. And I saw that. And afterwards, I knew that I saw it. I know to this day that I saw the auras, or the well, let's call it aura for the sake of it. But I knew that I saw them. But then I was like, nah, really, it's probably not right. It's just it's the same thing with him and the freaking auras, because after I questioned myself if it was real or not, I stopped seeing them. So the mind. Oh, so like, did I lose faith in my ability to see it, or did I lose it because I saw it, because I had another my cousin who told me how to see, or taught me how to see auras. She told me that it's like reading an open book, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's such a good idea to like read people through colors. That's kind of disrespecting, and that's since I saw it as disrespecting other people, I stopped seeing them because of that. So it's probably that, but that's not the same reason for me not being able to communicate with the gypsy. Well, I'm still dumbfounded. Did I connect with him to his biomagnetic field so that he could translate what he was speaking directly to me by his consciousness of knowing what he was saying? I don't know if you can comprehend what I'm saying right now, because for me it's such a clear picture what could have been going on. But then again, he could be a freaking liar. So I'm used to people around me being liars, saying one thing, doing the other. So, which makes me, well, if people say one thing and then do the other one time, I'm more susceptible to actually think and associate them to doing the same things over again. Like my Muslim neighbor today, he was like, yeah, come here. No, I promise, I'm not gonna do it again. So he was screaming out the window, so to the neighbors that was out on the lawn, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna go to the window if you're going to stand there and scream hello to them, because I'm not interested in being seen for something that I didn't do. So can you just quit it? And I was like, you're going to do it. That's what I... Is it that I don't trust people, or is it that I know that they're going... Are people easy to read? Or did I create that circumstance because I didn't trust that person? So questions that I have that I will probably not really... Then again, people are quite easy to read sometimes, so shouldn't be too hard about myself, hard on myself. But it makes me not trust myself when others do things that I start to question myself for. Does that make any sense at all? But yeah, okay. So I think that if I can learn Arabian, Arabian, is that? So anyway, so if I can learn that language, or Persian, or any other, it would probably be easier for me to communicate with my neighbors than them communicating with me in Swedish. But it took me years to speak English fluently, and I speak it fluently because I'm so hard on myself, because every time I do something wrong or pronounce something wrong, I go over it in my head or openly, like I did with the language thing here now, and when something doesn't really feel like it's fitting in, then I search for it and I learn new combination of words or something like that, and I elevate or evolve my language skills. But I don't want to evolve them too much, because when I do that, then I get really frustrated when I read other people's texts where they're misspelling or not using grammar, or they're just illiterate altogether. It feels like I have like 90% of people are dyslexic, but I was basically dyslexic when I was young, but I felt that it was more of a lazy thing of not learning, so I pushed myself up until the moment that my mind just clicked in place and whoa, okay, I can read now. I can comprehend what I'm reading fully. I can comprehend what I'm writing fully, and I can comprehend every word that I'm using fully, and that's how I view dyslexia. Basically, like, people are too lazy to learn fully, to comprehend fully what they are talking about, or learn fully to respect others. This is why I wanted, as a child, I told myself I want to be able to communicate with anyone. And in order to be able to communicate with anyone, you need to have decent language skills, both in writing and speech. And you need to be as fluent as possible in order to be heard. And you need to have a clear voice, and you need to write neatly so that others can read. Stuff like that. So I've been really hard on myself for that. But then again, it took me so many years that every time I'm like, oh, I want to learn a new language, I'm like, oh, really? Oh, I can't spend like 10 years on learning to speak Russian fluently. So I can't put that time down, because I'm probably not going to use it when I'm running around on the streets. I'm not speaking. I don't need to speak Arabic or anything else. If my neighbors can't comprehend what I'm saying in Swedish, we turn over to English, and that's all. That's all we need. I only need Swedish and English, basically, when I speak to other people. But I would really like to learn other languages, but I never go that far out. And most of my communication is through the internet. So, how it's the big question. Why would I learn another I want to learn, but then the questions come, why do I want to learn it? Because I'm probably not going to travel to another country. And I want to learn Russian after I had a Lithuanian girlfriend some years ago, and she was speaking Russian because her father was Russian and her mother was Lithuanian, and that was nice. So I tried to learn some Russian. So I have the papers somewhere here where I have it in how it's written for hand, and all the characters and how to pronounce them through more like Swedish pronunciations of the words, so that I can pronounce them correctly later on. She was really angry at me for doing that, but I learn from what I already can. So that's how you do it, really. So isn't it? So when I learnt English, I did that through Swedish, somewhat. So I had to. So for me, Swedish and English are really close languages, basically. Very. But if you I should learn more languages so I can really speak in tongues. Right now it's just 2 languages. It's not that much. So I want to learn more. Then again, I don't know why, because I don't have anyone to speak to. So if I learn Spanish, I have one person to talk to, and he's learning Swedish. That's also so he's been learning Swedish, and he can speak English. So we're mostly speaking Swedish and English, which becomes we're neglecting Spanish. and when I'm speaking, and when I want, and if I want to learn Spanish, I think it would be more interesting for me to learn Mexican Spanish than the lisping Spanish of Spain, because they started to lisp because of their king, to respect him, and that's why they all lisp. That's fun. As takes me back to what Moses said, and the first commandment. You should not have any other god than me. And that's not stating that you should not have any other god than Moses. No, you should not have anyone above self. And when you're starting to lisp because of another person, then you're putting that person above your value, devaluating yourself. That has nothing to do with this though. Anyway, I think that will be enough for today. I did make another video about leaving the faith, but I don't know if I want to make that public. I've made lots of other videos. This is the 12th video now, and I have not uploaded the other ones. I've uploaded some of them because they are in the flow, like just like this one. But the one in the one about faith, it's jumping on and off topic more than this one did. But also, this is the raw audio. I'm never going to sit down and cut in my videos to make it nicer or shorter for you to listen to. If you don't have 40 minutes to spare, then put it in acceleration mode. You have 2 times, and then it should be 21 minutes long. Right? So anyway, thank you for watching, and do whatever you want. This is Impulsive Compulsion at Question the Truth with me, Slisk Lindqvist, and see you next time.